So we are going to leave our host screen for a moment, and we're going to download the site that we want to put on the web from GitHub. I did include a link to information on the control panel. It's kind of like their knowledge base or their online help, because there's a lot more in this hosting package than what we're going to look at today. And I thought some of you may be interested in that. So we're going to click on the GitHub link, and whoops, I'm actually going to try center clicking on it. And then we're going to go ahead and download that. And let's see, I think I've already put it in documents. Let me try putting it somewhere new. And then we have to extract. And then once it's done extracting, we're going to go ahead and open up the solution. Here it is. And this little app is one that I found online, and I adapted it for what we needed. I'm going to go ahead and click OK, and then I'm going to pull my screen over so you can see it. So the first thing that we're going to do is run a build, and that's primarily to get all of the packages. Okay. And then we are going to have to do update database. And once that's done, if you wanted to run it and check it out, you can. But that's not really necessary. We're going to keep this open. And we're going to go back out to our site. Okay, so at this point, we're going to go back out to our control panel. Move this over here, and we're going to hit control panel. So this is the site that we're going to be loading to. And you can see that there are buttons down here for FTP information and web deploy information, which are two different ways of publishing your site. And what we're going to be doing today is FTP. So if we click on FTP, you can see that it's got the FileZilla information that we need, and I will show you how to set up FileZilla. But there's a couple things that we need to do before we can actually transfer our site. Web deploy is kind of cool because it can be done right from inside Visual Studio. And if you decide to go that route, this is the information that you would need to set up. Now, both of these sites do need a database. So that is going to be our next step. Let us select databases. And we're going to basically create kind of a database container. Okay? And you can either do it in MS SQL or MySQL. And we are going to use MS SQL. So we're going to go ahead and click on Add Database. So now it wants to know the database name, and you also have to tell it the type. Well, we are using the current MS SQL 2019. And as far as the name goes, you can get that in web config. So let's go out and let us look at web config. So looking at web config, we have our connection string and it says name equals. So this is the information that they want. So I'm going to do a Control-C on it. Come out here and I'm going to paste it. And let me make sure I don't have any spaces in front, which I do not. Database password, I'm just going to make it the same password that I have for my account. And it is important that you remember this because you are going to have to copy a connection string from your host into web config, and you are going to have to input that password. So it is important that you remember what it is. Okay, and whether it's lowercase, uppercase, mixed casing. Okay, because if you don't get it right, it's not going to be able to connect. So we're going to go ahead and submit. And so you can see at this point, I do have a database and I have a password. And you'll notice that it would let me change the password if there were any kind of issues. So what's important in this screen is the connection string examples. You're going to click on that. We are using ASP.NET. So this is the data source that we need to copy into web config. So in between the double quotes, I'm copying everything. I'm going to do Control-C. Then I'm going to go into web config where it says connection string, and you can see where it says data source equal. I'm going to do a shift and arrow on this because I want to make sure I don't highlight too much. Okay, this is what I want to highlight. I don't want to accidentally include provider name. Okay, so I've highlighted this. I'm going to do Control-V to paste right over the top. And then I'm going to put in my password. And since this is supposed to be super secret, I'm going to pause a minute. All right, so I did enter that password in. And I'm going to save everything and I'm going to run a build. So at this point, I have specified the name of the database and I have copied that data source string, the connection string, that the host needs to connect to this application. So my next step is actually going to be to publish a folder that I can FTP to my site.